Let me tell you something. Weak feelings are a trap. They sneak into your mind, whispering doubts, feeding fears, making excuses sound reasonable. They show up when it's time to work, when it's time to push, when it's time to rise, and they try to pull you back down. And if you let them, if you listen, you stay stuck, you stay small, you stay average. You ever notice how easy it is to talk yourself out of something? You set a goal, you make a plan, you get excited, and then boom, that voice creeps in. Maybe it's in the right time. What if I fail? I don't feel like it today. That's the trap. That's the enemy disguised as logic. It sounds rational. It sounds safe, but it's not keeping you safe. It's keeping you weak. Weak feelings will convince you to stop before you even start. They'll tell you that you're too tired, too inexperienced, too unlucky, too late. They will magnify every insecurity, highlight every flaw, and play back every failure like a broken record. And the more you listen, the more you believe, and the more you believe, the more you settle. Listen to me. There are people out there right now with less talent than you, less resources than you, less time than you, but they're winning. You know why? Because they shut that voice down. They don't let weak feelings make their decision. They don't let fear, doubt, or laziness dictate their future. They move forward even when they don't feel like it. They push even when it's hard. They take action even when it's uncomfortable. You've been lying to yourself for too long, telling yourself that you'll do it when you're ready. Let me tell you something. You will never feel ready. You will never feel 100% confident. You will never wake up one day and suddenly be free of doubt. Strength doesn't come from waiting. It comes from moving despite the fear. It comes from doing what you said you would do, even when your feelings beg you to quit. Think about all the times you let weak feelings win. All the opportunities you passed on because you were scared. All the dreams you delayed because you didn't feel good enough. All the progress you could have made if you had just shown up no matter what. Imagine where you would be right now if every time you felt weak, you took action instead. Imagine the version of you that could exist if you killed those weak feelings before they killed your potential. You don't get to be great and comfortable at the same time. You don't get to be strong and still entertain weak. You have to choose every day, every moment. You have to choose to show up, to push through, to fight for what you want. Because the truth is, nobody is coming to save you. Nobody is coming to force you to do the work. Nobody is coming to drag you to your destiny. You either step up or you stay behind. It's time to stop negotiating with your feelings. It's time to stop waiting for motivation. It's time to stop letting weakness hold the pen to your story. Your life is happening right now. Your future is being written today. So what's it going to be? Will you keep falling into the trap? Or will you break free and take what's yours? Your mind is the battlefield. Your life, your success, your future, your legacy, it's all decided up here. Not in your circumstances, not in your past, not in what people say about you, but in how you think, how you move, how you respond when things get tough. You want to change your life, you got to change your mind first. You want to break through, you got to stop letting your feelings run the show. You ever notice how your mind plays tricks on you? How it tries to talk you out of doing what you know you need to do? You wake up in the morning, alarm goes off, and that little voice says, just 5 more minutes. You sit down to work, and suddenly, maybe I'll check my phone real quick. You get an opportunity, and that doubt creeps in. What if I fail? What if I'm not ready? That's your mind trying to keep you comfortable. That's your mind trying to keep you in the same place. And if you let it, if you keep giving in, you never grow, you never change, you never become who you were meant to be. You were not put here to live a life controlled by weak emotions. You were not designed to be ruled by fear, by doubt, by laziness. You were built for more. But if you don't master your mind, you'll never see it. Every time you let your feelings dictate your actions, you give up control. Every time you say, I don't feel like it, and you listen to that, you reinforce weakness. But every time you push through, every time you act in spite of how you feel, you get stronger. You build discipline. You build confidence. And suddenly, you start winning battles you used to lose. This is what separates the greats from everybody else. The great ones don't let their emotions decide their actions. They don't ask themselves if they feel like it. They don't wait until they're motivated. They show up whether they feel good or not. They do what needs to be done whether they're tired or not. That's why they win. That's why they elevate, because they understand something most people never get. Your feelings are unreliable. They will betray you. They will keep you weak if you let them. You ever had a day where you didn't feel like working out, but you did it anyway, and afterwards you felt amazing? That's proof right there. Your mind told you not to. Your feelings told you no. But the second you overpowered that voice, the second you pushed through, you felt stronger. You felt alive, because action creates energy. Movement and discipline creates freedom. See, most people live their whole lives on autopilot. They let their mood decide their effort. If they feel good, they work hard. If they don't, they slack off. That's why they stay stuck. That's why they never break through. Because success doesn't care how you feel. Your goals don't care how you feel. Life is not waiting for you to be in the mood. You either take control of your mind or your mind will control you. Let me ask you something. Who's in charge, you or your feelings? Who's running your life? Because if it's your emotions, if it's your doubts, if it's your fears, then you are not in control. And if you're not in control, you will never reach your potential. It's time to flip the switch. It's time to wake up every day and decide, I don't care how I feel, I'm doing what I said I would do. I don't care if I'm tired, I'm showing up anyway. I don't care if it's hard, I refuse to quit. You want to change your life? You have to stop living based on how you feel and start living based on what you're committed to. Because feelings come and go, but commitment, that's what separates the winners from the quitters. You got to make up your mind that nothing, not tiredness, not fear, not self-doubt is going to stop you. That's the moment you take your power back. That's the moment everything changes. The mind is a battlefield, and every day you have a choice. Will you let weak feelings win, or will you take control and dominate? Pain is temporary, but regret is forever. See, most people don't get that. Most people spend their whole lives running from pain, avoiding discomfort, trying to find the easiest way out. And then what happens? They wake up years later, looking back at everything they could have done, everything they should have done. And the only thing left is regret. You think pain is the enemy? You think struggle is the problem? No, the problem is how you respond to it. The problem is the mindset that makes you believe avoiding pain is the way to happiness. It's not. That's the trap. That's the lie. Because when you run from pain, you run from growth. When you run from struggle, you run from strength. And the longer you run, the weaker you get. You ever quit on something because it got too hard? Maybe it was a dream, a goal, a commitment you made to yourself. And at first you were fired up. At first you were ready. But then things got tough. It didn't happen as fast as you wanted. It required more effort than you thought. And instead of pushing through, you gave in. You told yourself, maybe later. You convinced yourself, maybe this just isn't for me. And for a moment, it felt like relief. For a moment, it felt like you escaped the pain. But deep down, deep inside, where nobody else can see, you felt it. You knew you quit on yourself. That's regret. That's the kind of pain that doesn't go away. That's the weight you carry every single day, knowing you could have been more, knowing you could have done more, knowing you had the opportunity and you let it slip away. And the worst part, regret doesn't hit you all at once. It creeps up on you, builds over time. One day, you look around and realize you wasted years making excuses, and by then it's too late. Listen to me. You will feel pain no matter what. You can feel the pain of discipline, or you can feel the pain of regret. One lasts for a moment, the other lasts for a lifetime. One makes you stronger, the other makes you weaker. One pushes you forward, the other keeps you stuck. You have to decide which pain you're willing to live with. Think about it. Think about the greats, the ones who made history, the ones who changed the game. You think they had it easy? You think they woke up every day feeling motivated? No, they felt pain just like you. They had doubts just like you. They wanted to quit just like you. But the difference, they didn't let pain stop them. They didn't let struggle break them. They made a decision, no matter how hard it gets, I will keep going. No matter how much it hurts, I will push through, because they understood something most people never will. On the other side of pain is power. See, when you embrace the pain, when you lean into it, instead of running from it, you start to realize something. It won't kill you. It won't break you. In fact, it's making you better. It's sharpening you, strengthening you, preparing you for what's next. Every rep, every setback, every late night, every early morning, it's all adding up. It's all building something in you that comfort never could. But you got to stop looking for the easy way. You got to stop expecting results without struggle. You got to stop thinking success is supposed to feel good all the time. It's not. There will be days when you don't want to get up. There will be days when everything in you screams to quit. And that's the moment right there. That's the test. Will you fold? Will you back down? Or will you push through? Because if you push through, if you fight, if you refuse to quit, one day you're going to wake up and realize something. The pain is gone. The struggle is over. And in its place, strength, confidence, success. You'll look back and see that every ounce of pain you endured was worth it, because now you're not just somebody who dreamed. You're somebody who did. So make the choice. Face the pain now or live with regret later. But don't ever forget, pain is temporary, regret is forever. Excuses are lies. Lies you tell yourself to justify staying the same. Lies that make you feel better about not taking action. Lies that keep you from becoming who you were meant to be. And the crazy part, you believe them. You believe them so much that you start living like they're true. You start acting like they're facts, but deep down, you know the truth. Deep down, you know that every excuse is just a way to avoid the hard work, the discipline, the sacrifice. How many times have you said, I'll start tomorrow? How many times have you told yourself, I don't have enough time, I'm too tired, it's not the right moment? And every time you do, every time you let those excuses win, you push your dreams further away. You make it harder to come back. You reinforce the habit of quitting. Because that's what excuses really are. They're habits. They're patterns you built over time. Patterns that keep you in the same place. Patterns that rob you of your future. You ever notice how the people who succeed, the people who elevate, don't make excuses? It's not because their lives are easier. It's not because they have more time, more resources, more luck. It's because they refuse to let anything become a reason not to do the work. They don't allow obstacles to become stop signs. They don't waste time explaining why they came. They find a way to make it happen, because it's always a way. Always. But as long as you're making excuses, you're not looking for it. As long as you're convincing yourself that you can't, you won't. You've programmed yourself to believe the lie, and now it's running your life. And the worst part, the longer you let it go, the harder it is to break free, the deeper the habit gets. The more comfortable you become settling for less than you're capable of. You've got to kill the excuses before they kill your potential. You've got to call yourself out. When that voice in your head starts whispering, maybe later, you've got to shut it down. When it tells you you're too tired, you've got to move anyway. When it says this is too hard, you've got to remind yourself, growth only happens through challenge. Strength is only built through struggle. Look, I get it. Life is tough. You've got responsibilities, pressures, distractions. But guess what? So does everybody else. You are not the only one dealing with stress. You are not the only one facing obstacles. But the ones who make it, the ones who break through, they refuse to use any of that as a crutch. They take control. They take responsibility. They stop blaming their circumstances and start taking action. Because as long as you're blaming something outside of you, you're powerless. As long as you believe it's someone else's fault, or the timing isn't right, or life isn't fair, you're giving up control. But the second you own it, the second you say, no more excuses, I'm going to find a way, everything changes, because now you've taken the power back. Now you've put yourself in the driver's seat. Now it's no longer about what's happening to you. It's about what you're going to do about it. And that's the difference between the ones who succeed and the ones who stay stuck. It's not talent. It's not luck. It's not some magic formula. It's a mindset. It's a decision to stop lying to yourself, a decision to stop waiting for the perfect moment, A decision to stop giving in to weak feelings, to stop making excuses, to stop allowing anything to stand between you and your destiny. You have to choose right now. Will you keep believing the lie, or will you step up and take what's yours? Success demands a warrior mindset, not a weak, half-committed, I'll try mindset, not a when I feel like it mindset, a warrior mindset. That means you don't negotiate with your feelings. You don't wait until the conditions are perfect. You don't back down just because things get tough. You wake up every single day ready to fight for what's yours. You think champions wake up excited every morning? You think the greats feel motivated every single day? No, but they show up anyway. They train anyway. They work anyway because they're not led by emotions. They're led by commitment. They made a decision and they refuse to break that decision just because they don't feel like it. That's the difference. That's the gap between those who talk about success and those who actually live it. Most people aren't willing to go that far. Most people want it to be easy. They want success to come without the struggle. They want to be great without the sacrifice. And that's why most people never make it. Because the second it gets hard, the second it requires more than they expected, they fold. They start looking for the exit. They start looking for excuses. They start telling themselves, maybe this isn't for me. That's not how a warrior thinks. A warrior doesn't run when things get difficult. A warrior doesn't back down because it hurts. A warrior understands that the pain, the struggle, the late nights, the early mornings, that's the process. That's the fire that sharpens them, that prepares them, that turns them into something unstoppable. See, when you have a warrior mindset, you don't need motivation. You don't need external validation. You don't need somebody clapping for you, telling you good job. You move because it's who you are. You work because you said you would. You grind because the mission demands it. That's what separates the strong from the weak. You ever watch how lions move? They don't ask permission. They don't hesitate. They don't second guess themselves. They see what they want and they go get it. That's the energy you need. That's the mindset you need. You don't have time to sit around questioning yourself. You don't have time to entertain doubt. You don't have time to wait for the right moment. The right moment is when you decide. The right moment is when you take action. The right moment is right now. You've got to kill that weak mentality that's keeping you soft, that's making you hesitate, that's convincing you to settle. Because if you let it stay, if you let it grow, it will rob you of everything you were meant to be. You were not put on this earth to be average. You were not built to be mediocre. But you will stay that way if you don't step up and take control. You have to get aggressive about your future. You have to get relentless about your dream. You have to stop walking around like you have all the time in the world, like success is going to wait for you, like greatness is going to show up at your door. It won't. It never has. It never will. A warrior doesn't wait. A warrior moves. A warrior doesn't make excuses. A warrior adapts. A warrior doesn't ask, can I? A warrior says, I will. So the only question left is, are you ready to think, move, and dominate like a warrior? Or will you keep letting weakness win? You got to stop waiting for motivation. Stop waiting for that perfect moment when you feel inspired, when the energy is right, when everything lines up just the way you want. That's the trap. That's the lie that keeps you stuck. You think the greats rely on motivation? You think the ones at the top, the ones breaking records, the ones changing the game, wake up every day feeling excited to grind? No, but they do it anyway. They don't need to feel like it. They don't need a pep talk. They don't need a purple mood because they understand something that most people never will. Discipline beats motivation every single time. You know what motivation is? It's fragile. It's unreliable. It's an emotion, and emotions change. One day you feel like taking action, the next day you don't. One moment you fired up, the next you're doubting yourself. That's why you can't trust it. That's why if you're depending on motivation to carry you, you're already setting yourself up to fail. You're putting your future, your success, your dreams in the hands of something you can't control. Discipline, though, That's different. Discipline isn't about feelings. Discipline isn't about what's convenient. Discipline is about commitment. It's about showing up no matter what. It's about getting the work done whether you feel like it or not. And that's why discipline is dangerous, because once you build it, nothing can stop you. Once you develop the ability to move without needing a reason, without needing motivation, you become unstoppable. Look around. Look at the ones winning. Look at the ones dominating. What do they all have in common? They don't quit when it gets tough. They don't slack off just because they don't feel good. They don't sit around waiting for the perfect circumstances. They show up every day. Whether they tired, whether they stressed, whether they unmotivated, that's why they succeed. That's why they're different. Most people won't do that. Most people will hit the snooze button. Most people will look for a way out. Most people will let their emotions dictate their effort. That's why most people never reach their full potential. They let weak feelings make their decisions instead of their commitment. But if you want to be great, if you want to separate yourself, if you want to break through to the next level, you have to kill that mindset. You have to train yourself to move without motivation, to execute without excuses, to push through no matter what. It's not easy. It's not supposed to be. That's the whole point. If it were easy, everybody would be doing it. If it were easy, success wouldn't mean anything. But the fact that it's hard, the fact that most people won't do it, that's the advantage. That's the opportunity. Because if you can master this, if you can become the kind of person who moves with discipline, who takes action no matter what, you will separate yourself from the pack. You ever notice how the best in the world are always working, always sharpening, always improving? That's because they're not chasing motivation. They're fueled by something deeper. They have a mission. They have a standard. They don't care if they feel like it. They care about winning. They care about growth. They care about making every single day count. That's the difference. That's the mindset you need. You've got to make a decision. Will you be like everybody else, waiting, hesitating, making excuses? Or will you be the one who shows up regardless? Will you be the one who takes control, who operates on discipline, who refuses to let weak emotions dictate their life? Because at the end of the day, the ones who win are not the ones who had the most motivation. They're the ones who had the most discipline. They're the ones who moved even when it was hard. They're the ones who got it done even when they didn't feel like it. So stop waiting. Stop making excuses. Stop looking for the easy way. Build discipline. Move now. Move without motivation. Move without hesitation. And watch how everything changes. You have to stop fearing failure. Stop letting the fear of messing up, the fear of looking bad, the fear of not getting it right hold you. That fear is keeping you small. That fear is keeping you from stepping into your purpose. You're so worried about what could go wrong that you don't even give yourself a chance to get it right. And that's the problem. That's why most people stay stuck. It's not because they don't have potential. It's not because they don't have talent. It's because they're afraid to fail. But failure is not the enemy. Failure is the process. Failure is the price you pay for success. You don't get to win without failing first. You don't get to grow without stumbling. You don't get to reach your highest level without taking some hits along the way. The ones who make it, the ones who break through, they're not the ones who never fail. They're the ones who never let failure stop them. They're the ones who took the hits, who learned from them, who got back up every single time. That's the difference. That's what separates the strong from the weak. The weak see failure as the end. The strong see failure as a lesson. The weak get embarrassed when they fall. The strong get back up and keep moving. The weak let one setback make them quit. The strong use every setback as fuel. Which one are you going to be? You've been running from failure for too long. You've been avoiding risk, playing it safe, trying to show everything is perfect before you move. And what has that gotten you? Where has that mindset taken you? Nowhere. You're stuck. You're in the same place, facing the same problems because you refuse to step out of your comfort zone. You refuse to take a shot unless you know for sure you're going to make it. But let me tell you something. You'll never know for sure. You'll never have a guarantee. The only way to find out what you're capable of is to go for it. The only way to grow is to take the risk, take the shot, and be willing to fail in the process. Look at the greats. Look at the ones who changed the game, who built something out of nothing, who reached the highest levels. You think they got there without failing? You think they had a perfect journey with no setbacks, no mistakes, no struggles? No. They failed more times than you can imagine. They lost, they struggled, they made bad decisions, but they didn't let failure define them. They didn't let fear control them. They kept pushing, kept growing, kept learning until they figured it out. That's what you have to do. You have to be willing to fail. You have to be willing to mess up, to make mistakes, to struggle in order to grow. Because if you're not failing, you're not trying. If you're not failing, you're not pushing yourself hard enough. If you're not failing, you're not reaching for something big enough. You can't let fear dictate your future. You can't let the possibility of failure stop you from taking action. Because the truth is, failure is temporary. Failure is a moment. But regret is forever. Regret is looking back and knowing you had a shot and you didn't take it. Regret is knowing you could have done more, could have been more, but you let fear win. That's the real loss. That's the real pain. Not failing, never even trying. Not falling down, never even stepping into the ring. You have to choose what kind of pain you're willing to live with, the pain of failure or the pain of regret. One lasts a moment, the other lasts a lifetime. So what are you going to do? Keep playing it safe. Keep waiting for the perfect moment. Keep letting fear keep you from your destiny. Or are you finally going to step up, take the risk and bet on yourself, because that's the only way you're ever going to make it. That's the only way you're ever going to see what you're truly capable of. You can either keep fearing failure or you can go all in and make it happen. But you can't do both. So decide right now. You have to commit to the process. Not just when it's exciting, not just when you're seeing results, not just when everything is going your way. You have to commit when it's hard. You have to commit when it's slow. You have to commit when nobody's watching, when nobody's clapping for you, when nobody believes in you. That's the real test. That's what separates the ones who talk about greatness from the ones who actually achieve it. Most people don't have a commitment problem. They have a consistency problem. They start strong. They're excited in the beginning. They're motivated when things are fresh and new. But the second the grind gets real, the second the excitement fades, the second it doesn't happen as fast as they thought, they back off. They slow down. They start questioning if it's even worth it. That's why most people never reach their full potential. Not because they don't have talent, not because they don't have the ability, but because they don't have the patience, the consistency, the discipline to stick with it when it's not fun anymore. You say you want it, but do you really? Because if you really want it, your actions will prove it. If you really want it, you won't just work when you feel like it. You won't just push when things are easy. You will keep showing up, keep grinding, keep improving no matter how long it takes. That's what real commitment looks like. That's what separates the elite from everybody else. You ever wonder why some people make it and some people don't? It's not about who's the most talented. It's not about who got the best opportunities. It's about who kept going when others quit. It's about who stayed locked in when others got distracted. It's about who was willing to embrace the pain, the setbacks, the slow progress without losing focus. That's the key. That's what most people don't understand. Everybody wants to win. Everybody wants success, but not everybody is willing to endure the process. Not everybody is willing to go through the years of struggle, the seasons of uncertainty, the lonely nights, the early mornings, the sacrifices. But that's the price. That's the cost of being great. You can't expect to put in half the effort and get all the results. You can't expect to give up when it gets hard and still come out on top. You can't expect to win if you're not even willing to stay in the fight. So many people start something and never finish. They jump from one thing to the next, always looking for the shortcut, always looking for the easy way, always hoping for a faster route. But there is no shortcut. There is no easy way. There is only the work. And you have to fall in love with the process. You have to learn to enjoy the grind, to embrace the struggle, to find fulfillment in the journey, not just the destination. Because if you're only in it for the rewards, you won't last. If you're only in it for the quick success, the moment things slow down, you'll give up. But if you're in it because you're committed to growth, because you're dedicated to becoming the best version of yourself, because you refuse to settle for anything less than what you're capable of, then nothing will stop you. This is the mindset that winners have. They don't see obstacles as stop signs. They see them as part of the process. They don't let setbacks break them. They let setbacks build them. They don't question whether or not they'll succeed. They've already decided that they will. The only question is how long it will take. That's the level of commitment you need. That's the level of discipline you need. You have to be all in. No more half efforts. No more quitting when it gets hard. No more second guessing yourself every time things don't go your way. You either want it or you don't. You're either committed or you're not. And if you're committed, then act like it, move like it, work like it, no matter how long it takes. No matter what stands in your way, no matter how many times you have to start over, adjust, or fight through the pain. Because in the end, the only thing that separates you from success is your willingness to keep going. So decide right now, are you going to stay in the process? Or are you going to keep making excuses? Because you can't do both.